Mishichtruch inkat makam. So here is part 2 of our Rumsen grammar expedition. This time we're talking a lot more about commands. Last video, it was talking a lot more about very basic verb tenses, things like past, present, and future. So let's get on. There are lots of types of commands in Rumsen. So the first type is called the simple command. So these are just like to, order something. So here is the first example. I said shock. Shock means to look. So I should probably say there are two columns here, as you can see. One says singular, one says plural. Singular means if you're directing it to one person. If you're just telling one person to do something. Plural means you're telling a group of people to do something. So in English, we don't have a distinction between singular and plural commands. If you say go, it can be to one person, but you can also direct it to a group of people. So lots of languages actually distinguish singular and plural commands. Things like Spanish distinguishes between singular and plural commands. So just like Spanish, Rumsen also does that. So here on the left side it says singular and on the right says plural. So this will probably come up for a lot of other slides that will come up. So just so you get to familiarize yourself with this concept. So here for simple commands I chose this one verb, shock, means to look. And of course I've talked about this a lot in a lot of other videos, but there is a thing called an underlying form, and that's important to know because this underlying form will come up in a lot of forms later when you'll see. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's best to probably look at my Rumsen phonology videos, at least like the first 10 minutes of my first video. That will clear up a lot of things about what an underlying form is. So anyways, back to what we were talking about. Simple commands. Shock means to look. Of course, you can see there's a hidden E. The slashes denote the underlying form. So let's see here. If you just want to say look to one person, you say shock, shock. I mean, you can like point your finger at something in the sky and be like shock, look, shock. So for the plural though, you'll see a lot for a plural command, you have to add a retroflex T, the T with the dot underneath it at the end of the verb. So if you want to direct it to a group of people, you say shock it, shock it. So all of you look. Y'all look. So when I say a plural command, I'll probably put y'all in it. I mean, I know not every English speaker says y'all, but it's basically just to distinguish it pretty clearly. So let's look at another example. Let's look at to go, watting. So as you can see, there are no slashes. That's because usually verbs that end with a consonant, in this case N, they don't actually have like a hidden vowel somewhere. So this is just how it looks. So watting. Watting. So if you want to say go to one person, watting. Simple. It's just the form of the verb, how it appears. Watting. And if in this case the verb ends in a consonant, when you add the T with the dot under, you put an I before it. So wattingit. Wattingit. So all of y'all go. Wattingit. So next, let's look at object marker. So you can see here it says dash and K. You put that at the end of the verb. So again, let's look at shock, to look, since we're familiar with that verb now. So if you want to say look at it, shocking, shocking. So as you can see, the underlying form here is now important because once you add an NK at the end, if you just put it at the end of those two Ks, like shocking, that doesn't work. So you need to have that hidden vowel appear now. So shocking, shocking, look at it. Now, if you want to say all of y'all look at it, you say shockenkot, shockenkot. So here, what's important is to note that when you put the NK, you put the retroflex T after it. And now instead of an I, it's an O. So it'll get kind of confusing, but over time you'll start to like really understand and let it sink in. So shockenkot, shockenkot. Y'all look at it. Shockenkot. So here's another example I said. So ok. Ok means to send or command a person. Not to send like a package. It means to send or dispatch someone to do an errand for you, like a messenger boy or something. So ok. So if you want to say send the boy over, like send him off, like okenk. Okenk. And if you want to tell a group of people to send someone off, you say okenkot. Okenkot. So hopefully this has you're getting the hang of this. That's just the beginning. So of course another form of commands is negative commands. This one is pretty simple, straightforward. It can be a little confusing in conversation. I'll explain that. So in these negative commands, all you have to do is put the pronoun in front of it. You can also put 고 in front of it. 고 means no or not. So I'll demonstrate. So if you want to say don't be so loud, if you're telling a child this, don't be so loud. 매오쿰. 매오쿰. Or you can say 고 매오쿰. 고 매오쿰. So if you say 고 매오쿰, it's very obvious that you're saying as a command. But 매오쿰, it just means like 매 means you. I would suggest looking at my previous Rumsen grammar video. It has all the pronouns, but 매 means you. So if you say 매오쿰, it can mean don't be so loud as a command, but it can also mean you're being so loud, like as a declarative sentence. So I think as a learner, it might be a little hard distinguishing when exactly someone is saying you're so loud or someone saying don't be so loud. But I mean, over time in conversation, you'll eventually pick it up based on context. So context is very important. Negative commands in this case are very heavy, context heavy situation. So just to get that and acknowledge that, if you want to make a plural command telling a group of children y'all are being so loud, you can say 막감오쿰, or you can say 꾸 막감오쿰. Don't you, like, y'all don't be so loud. Like, if, I don't know, a group of children are screaming somewhere in, like, a Target or something, you can say, 막감오쿰, 꾸 막감오쿰. Don't be so loud. So let's look at touch. Another command you can say to children, if you don't want them to touch something, dangerous or precious. tat, tat, tat means to touch. So if you want, now here you can see we're adding wash. If you want to say it, like don't touch it, there is now an object in the command. You put wash in between the pronoun and the verb. Wash means it. He, him, her, it. So 매와시다. Don't touch it. Again, this can also mean you are touching it. So it really depends probably on intonation. If you say it forcefully, 매와시다. Someone can understand it as like, don't touch it. But if you say 매와시다, you're touching it. So again, I didn't add this, but you can say 꾸 매와시다, 꾸 매와시다. So for the plural, you just add 막감. 막감 means you all. So 막감와시다. Y'all don't touch it. Like 막감와시다 or 꾸 막감와시다. So here's another form. It's called ot. I call it to go. But you add ot. Ot means to like go as a command. It's an irregular thing. Ot, but you also need to add an s at the end of the verb. So let's look at this. So here's the word for to sleep. Etren does not have an underlying form because it ends with a consonant, and there's no hidden vowel. If you want to say go sleep, go to sleep. If you were telling this to a child, like ot etrens, go to sleep. You say ot, add the verb, and then add that s. Ot etrens. Now, if you want to say to a group of children, go to sleep, like y'all go to sleep, you say ot etrensit. It's a mouthful, but here you notice you put that T at the end of ot. And I should have put this, but there is an underlying form for ot, and that is that hidden O that you see pops up. So ot etrensit. Now you have to add that retroflex T after etrens too. And this time there is an I that pops up. It can get a little confusing when it's O, when it's I, when it's A, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. Otrot Etchensit. Y'all go to sleep. So here's another word to kill, a little violent, but if you want to say to someone, go kill it, and now we want to add that NK, nimmipoṭ. nimmipoṭ. So here you say again, nim, to kill, and now we put that C and that NK at the end of C. nimmipoṭ. Go kill it. Now for the plural, this is getting very complicated, but y'all go kill it. Now it becomes nimmipoṭ. nimmipoṭ. We explained nimmipoṭ means to go kill. Nimmi, to kill. Si, that little S you add to say to go. NK to mean it, and at the end for a plural. nimmipoṭ. Y'all go kill it. So here's the other direction. Instead of go, you say come. So here, I means to come as a command. It's irregular again. But I'll explain more. But amchai means to eat. And when you say come eat, you say I amchai. So you add now the S with the dot under it. I amchai. Come eat. 吃饭了, come eat. It's time to eat. If you want to add it to make it plural, if you have multiple children, you say, it's time to eat, come eat. You say, ayet amcheshit. Ayet amcheshit. So ayet. I also has an underlying form, it has that E, ayet. You add that T to the end of I. Now after you add that S with the dot under it, you have to add the T with the I. So it's a little complicated, but ayet amcheshit. Y'all come eat. Ayet amcheshit. Now if we want to say, let's say to hunt here. Now I think you can see at the top of the slide there's a K at the end. There's also it says dash K. That is an alternative. So you can say I bunish or I bunik for to come hunt. So as you can see, when we say I bunish with the S, you don't need to add the underlying form. You can just keep the surface form. Puni. I bunish. So it doesn't need to change. But when you put the K, you have to put the underlying form. I bunyik, not bunik. So make sure when you put the K, I bunyik, come hunt. So chit means to dance. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I tried to pull sentences that Isabel Meadows herself said and were documented by JPH. I have not gone through every single sheet of paper that he has written down, so I am not even close to the complete extensive documentation of it. But these are the sentences that I have now that she has said. Some of them I think I had to write myself, think myself, but the vast majority, she's the one who said it. So chit means to dance. Ayet chitekit. So here I tried very hard to find an example where she put the K, the ending K for a plural command, and I found one, just one. Ayet chitekit. So chite, to dance. Ki. So ki for that K and for that plural command. Ayet chitekit. Y'all come dance. Ayet chitekit. A mouthful. So, I believe we might be halfway through. It's a long video, but now we're going to talk about the reflexive. It's the ending with a P. So singular and plural, of course. So look at to defend. Onei. Onei. Interesting because this verb in mutsun means, I think, to accompany, like to be someone's friend. But anyways, in Rumsen it means to defend. So onape. Onape. Put that P at the end. It means like defend yourself. Stand up for yourself. Onape. Stand up for yourself. Defend yourself. Now, if you want to say for a plural, ayep. Ayep. It means to look about. Really, it's like the word ayo to see with the P and, the W is just elided. But ignore that. Right now, let's just pretend ayep means to look about. So ayepot means y'all look out. Ayepot. So here, now you see that you need an O before the T, not an I. I might have to explain a little bit more if people are confused, but here, let's look at the word for to smell. Usip. Smell yourself. Usip. You know, if you sniff yourself. Usip. Now, I did try to find an example where Isabel Meadows used the plural command with a reflexive form, and there was only one I could find that was really good, and unfortunately, it's a little, at least I personally thought it might be triggering to some people because it talks about suicide, so I didn't put it on here, but if you want to look at what the form is anyways, I put in the description box, so you can go check that out yourself if you don't think you would be triggered by seeing a sentence like this. So just a heads up.